Run It Back Nation, what is good? It is your boy DJ Ace with Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. You know the drill. Algo gang. Hit the like button on the video. I'm up here sometimes multiple times a day. Post-game live, a couple videos here and there. All I ask is that you hit that like button and put something in the comments. If you don't have anything to say, put your favorite emoji in there. It doesn't matter. It's all for the Algo. Let's get into some things, man. Listen, first of all, you can always support the channel by going to the merch store. And right now, we got the James Harden Who Won the Trade t-shirt going off on the merch store right now. Who won the trade? James Harden silhouette. Run It Back Philly logo at the bottom of the beard. You know you want one, man. You get a dope t-shirt and you support me at the same time. It's a win-win for both of us. Link is in the description. All right, so check that out. DraftKings, too. Bet $5 right now on any game. Get $200 in free bets automatically from DraftKings. Got to use the link in the description for that, too. Let's get into some things, man. Before we get into the James Harden stuff, shout out to A2D Radio, my guy Tom Arnone and the crew. 6 years ago today, Joel Embiid had an epic quote on how he learned how to shoot a basketball. And he said, you know how I learned to shoot? I watched white people, just regular white people. They really put their elbow in and finish up top. You can find videos of them online. Yo, he was always a really, really funny dude. And it's true, man. Us white boys, man, we got that square release, baby. We got that square release, man. All right, so let's get into the James Harden stuff, man, because I want to talk about something. Because James Harden's impacting the game in more than just one way, more than just offensively. And I didn't see this coming this season. I didn't see this coming at all. And this really tells me that James Harden not only got back into shape, not only got that hamstring healthy, but he's given more effort on both sides of the floor. Here's a good tweet from NBA_University. Small sample, but here's the most and least impactful players on both sides of the ball so far this season. Up equals positive defensive impact. Down equals negative defense. Left equals awful defense. Right equals incredible. Left equals awful offense. Right equals incredible offense. You know what I'm saying. More coffee, Eastwood. More coffee. What stands out? Well, what stands out to me is where James Harden is on this chart, man. And let me just make this big here. That's what she said. Let me just get this right across the screen here so you can really see it. Okay, look. Right there in the top right, James Harden, man. You see defensive points saved and you see offensive points added, right? So he's right in the upper echelon of NBA players as far as offensive points added, which is incredible. I mean, we're talking about Ja Morant, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, all these guys. He's right in that group. He's in the top 5 so far in 4 games of offensive points added. But what he's doing differently is defensive points saved. James Harden, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you heard me right. James Harden is playing defense in 2022 at the age of 33 years old. After coming off a hamstring, after looking completely washed last year, James Harden is playing defense. So he's up here in defensive points saved, and I said in that Bucks game I was blown away that James Harden made Giannis shoot an air ball on the block. I was like, James is the only one that can guard Giannis on this team? But I just wanted to point out, man, that I really think what James Harden is doing on both sides of the floor is incredible. It's helping this team incredibly. It's going to help this team grow. It's going to help this team throughout the season into the playoffs. And it's just something that needs to be talked about, what James Harden is doing, not just on the offensive side of the floor, because he's done that his whole career when he's healthy, but the defensive side of the floor. I don't think he's ever done this through 4 games. If you can find stats to back up that he has, sure, why not? But, from what I remember, James Harden was always known as, not really giving any effort on the defensive end of the floor. And now it seems like he is. And this chart backs it up. What else we got here? We got Tyrese Maxey down here. Okay. And yeah, some people were in the chat last night saying, are you guys done overhyping Maxey, calling him the next Iverson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here's Tyrese Maxey, who is not performing offensively where you would like him to be, but I also still believe that that's because, trying to force him onto the floor with James and Joel, who are both ball-dominant offensive players. Where does Maxey fit in? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking not necessarily bring him off the bench, but more of a staggered strategy Doc Rivers needs to have with Maxey and Harden. I need Maxey to be on the floor with a second unit. I need Maxey to get a lot more time on the floor without James and Joel to up Maxey's production, but also continue the production for the whole team throughout all 4 quarters. So I definitely, want to see that improve. But Tyrese Maxey, who I've credited his effort defensively throughout his young career so far, but he has been abysmal defensively so far in this young NBA season, and you can see it right here on the chart. I mean, he's not adding. He's almost in the middle of the pack as far as, well, he's on the left side. He's toward the bottom as far as offensive points added, but as far as defensive points saved, he is, out of everyone on this chart, the worst on here. So, I don't know if that's going to improve. He's 6'3". We'll see. It seems like teams are definitely targeting him on the defensive end. I think Joel Embiid's right here in the middle. Can't see his head right here, but that's a Sixers jersey. And then I saw another, there's a Sixers jersey right here. Looks like a white guy, though, so I don't know if that's George Niang or who that is in there. But, obviously you want Joel Embiid to be where he normally is on these type of charts, which is toward the top of the NBA in defensive points saved and toward the top of the NBA in offensive points added. So we'll see if he gets there. Clearly looks like James Harden is in way better shape than Joel Embiid right now. We will see if that improves, Hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. What do I got next on the agenda? Look, a couple more James Harden quick stats. Okay, James Harden threw 4 games last year. And is that 4 games? They didn't clarify if this is 4 games with the Sixers. I think his numbers were better with the Sixers than this. But 4 games last year. I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets before the trade, beginning of last season. He averaged 17.3 points per game, 8.3 assists per game, 7 rebounds per game on 36, 32, 92. And that was coming off of that hamstring injury. James Harden stats through 4 games this year. He is averaging 26.8 points per game, 9.8 assists per game, 8.5 rebounds per game on 49, 37, and 95. So all you guys have told me, look, James is just out of shape. This is not the James Harden we know. This is not the James Harden we're used to. And once he gets back into shape, he's going to be right back to what he's used to doing. Ladies and gentlemen, God damn it, you were right. Healthy James Harden puts up 27, 9, and 9 damn near on 49, 37, and 95 so far through 4 games. So keep it up, James. You surprised me. A, I didn't think you were going to take a pay cut. B, I didn't think you were going to put the work in to get back into shape. You did both of those things. I am thankful. I am impressed. And I am happily wrong. I'm happily wrong about, all the things I said about you this offseason. I am very happily wrong. Not that James cares what I said or what I think. Here's another fun stat. And we've been talking about this a little bit so far this season. James Harden shooting the mid-range shot. James Harden has attempted 15 mid-range shots in 2021 regular season games with the Sixers last year. He attempted 15 mid-range shots with the Sixers last year in 21 regular season games. I can't read today. He's already up to 14 mid-range shots in only 4 games this year, and he's 10 of 14 on those looks. This is what I was saying, last season when it was clear, especially when he didn't have the athleticism or the bounce trying to get to the rim. I was like, bro, it's either a 3-point attempt or you're trying to drive all the way to the rim and plow into 5 guys, and, get denied at the rim, etc. Why don't you stop and pull up a mid-range jumper? And I was like, I know James can shoot a mid-range. He has a lethal jump shot. He has some of the most, he's top 2 or 3 in 3-pointers made in NBA history. He can clearly shoot the ball. So a mid-range shot should actually be very, very easy for James Harden. And as you can see, he's 10 for 14 from the mid-range so far this season. So it's something that he worked on this season. Some people in the chat, shout out to you guys, have been giving credit to Sam Cassell. I agree with that. Shout out to Sam Cassell, future head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. I'll bet on it. So shout out to that. Shout out to James putting in the work this summer and adding that mid-range to his game. Not that he couldn't shoot a mid-range shot, but it wasn't, it wasn't up here. It wasn't instinctually something that he would just do. So I think he really, really trained on pulling up from the mid-range this season, and it's paying off so far. And it just adds another thing to James Harden's game. James Harden with a mid-range jumper is 100% impossible to stop. It's impossible to stop. You can guard the three if you want to. Maybe you'll get crossed up and fall over like he's done to three people so far this season. He's better at finishing at the rim this year. But if you stop both of those things, now he's going to pull a mid-range and shoot 75% from it. Yeah, that's lethal, and that's unstoppable. Last thing I want to talk about today is Joel Embiid. All right, Joel Embiid needs to have a great game against Toronto tonight for me to believe again, okay? If he comes out here and looks like he did the first three games, I'm not going to believe it. I'm just going to say, okay, cool, you had a good game. I don't think you were great against the Spurs. I think you were atrocious defensively, but you dropped 40 on the Spurs, 38 minus the last 20-second forced layup just to get 40 that really pissed me off. But you dropped 40 against the Spurs. You were terrible defensively. You put up 26 against the Pacers, and you were better defensively against the Pacers than you were in the first three games. So this game against Toronto is a true test for me. If Joel comes out here and looks good, I don't need 40. Toronto's a very athletic team. I don't need 40. I need 26 and 12. It's more about the defense for me with Joel Embiid, because he said he wants to be a defensive player of the year candidate. He said he wants this Sixers team to be one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, and they're one of the worst so far through 4 games. So I want to look at the advanced numbers, and I want you to show me that you gave maximum effort defensively against the Toronto Raptors tonight. That's really what I'm looking for. The first 2 games, he was bad. He dropped 40 against the Spurs. He dropped 26 against the Pacers. His defensive rating the first 3 games was atrocious, especially as far as Joel Embiid's standards go. It was very bad. All right. And then it was a 112 versus the Pacers, which isn't great, but it isn't like it's 135 or 140 or 150. You know what I mean? And somebody in the comments asked me, can you explain what defensive rating means? And just reading a little bit about it and what I know about it, I'm just going off a per 100 possessions, basically. You know what I mean? It's saying that Joel Embiid in 100 possessions, and an average NBA game is 98, 99, 100, 101, 102. So it's a good way to gauge if that player was on the floor the entire game, he would give up 112 points to the Pacers, which again isn't great, but it's not 120, it's not 130, it's not 140. So it was better against the Pacers. I would love to see it be down to around 100, 105. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Also, his usage rate. And this is on Doc Rivers and the coaching staff. I was yelling about his usage rate the first game. I didn't think it made any sense, especially with James Harden being what he is right now. And it took Doc 3 games to figure out, hey, James is elite right now. Joel is struggling. Let's kind of switch it up a little bit. So Joel Embiid's usage rating the first 3 games was 34%, 36%, and we were 0-2, and then it was 38.3% against the Spurs. So he was bad, and we used him more often against the Spurs. It was just trending all in the wrong direction. Against the Pacers, his usage rate was down to 31%. And why was his usage rate down to 31% against the Pacers? Because James Harden's usage percentage went from 22 the first 3 games to 28 against the Pacers. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's all in the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. It's clear as day. You were trying to force the ball to Joel Embiid at the beginning of the season. You weren't using who is clearly your best player right now, James Harden, as much as you should have been. And you were 0-3. And you lost to the Spurs. Then you switch it up. You go from James Harden having a 22% usage rate to 28. You go from Joel Embiid to having a 38% usage rate to 31. Oh my God, it's like fucking rocket science, isn't it? Wow. Yeah, you started running the game more through James Harden at the top of the key, less through Joel Embiid on the block, which also equates to a higher pace, which today's NBA, the pace is fast, and we are one of the slowest paced teams in the NBA. So you're not slowing the game down to try to force it to Joel Embiid on the block the whole game. You're not trading threes for twos. You're getting up 30, 35 three-point attempts per game, which is good also. You're running the pick and roll, and Joel Embiid can just play center. Just play center. Just set screens for Harden, roll to the basket. Set screens for Harden, pop to the elbow. It's getting him more open looks. It's opening up his game more. It just makes more sense. Just makes more sense. One more fun stat. Opponents are shooting 74.7% at the rim against the Sixers this season so far in 4 games, which is second worst in the NBA. So you want to be one of the best defensive teams in the NBA? You're allowing 74.7% at the rim right now? That's not just Joel Embiid playing terrible defense. That has to do with the rotations also. That has to do with Doc Rivers trying to decide between Montrezl Harrell and Paul Reed. And guess what? Montrezl Harrell, love the guy. He's a dog. He's going to give you what he gives you on the offensive end of the floor. He can't stop anybody at the rim. He is not a defender whatsoever. Paul Reed, you're going to have a better shot at stopping people at the rim with Paul Reed playing defense. So, maybe you try that. Maybe you try that. And one more thing here from my guy Sean Bernard. It's only 4 games in, but the eye test is matching up directly with these trends of the Sixers' troubles. We are 29th in transition defense and 30th in offensive rebounding. You can't be successful if you're bad in both of these categories. Shout out to Sean, and you're absolutely right. So, it's the same thing that's been plaguing the Sixers for a long time. Transition defense and offensive rebounding. And it has a lot, obviously, to do with the talent that's on the floor, the athleticism that's on the floor. The Toronto Raptors, I don't even have to look at the numbers to know they're top 5 in both of these things. They run and they rebound. They are young, long, and athletic. We are old and slow, and our best offensive rebound is 6'5" PJ Tucker. And he fights, and I love the guy, but you got to get better at rebounding. You got to get better at transition defense. I don't know how we do that without a roster shakeup, a minimal roster shakeup, which, by the way, Jay Crowder, still available. A perfect 3-and-D player is still available via trade. I don't really like what I've seen from Daniel House so far. I don't think we have enough wing depth at all. We probably have the least wing depth in the NBA. If you want to get better at transition defense, maybe you play Matisse Thybulle a little bit more than 0 minutes, Doc Rivers, but it's tough to play him because he has nothing on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know, man. That's all I got. But shout out to James Harden for what he's doing so far this season. Joel Embiid, you need to keep it up, and you need to do something good against the Toronto Raptors tonight. And we will continue to gauge this team as we go. Thank you for tuning in. Buy the James Harden t-shirt. You know you want one. Hit the like button. Put whatever you want in the comments. Put your favorite emoji. Doesn't matter. It's all for the algo. Y'all have a great day, man. Peace.